is 2 Chronicles 7, verses 13 and 14, referring to the current COVID pandemic. All right. 2 Chronicles chapter 7, 13 and 14 says this. The Lord said, when I shut up the heavens so that there is no rain, or command locusts to devour the land, or send a plague among my people, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Is that passage referring to the current COVID pandemic? And is the pandemic meant to bring the nations back to God? Specifically to that first question, my answer is no. Do I think that in 2 Chronicles chapter 7, God was speaking to the nation of Israel and he had the COVID pandemic in mind? My answer is no, and here's why. In the Old Testament, God had a special system for the people of Israel, the descendants of Abraham, where he had kind of gathered them as one special nation as his people. And he made these unique promises in the Old Testament that if they would obey him and they would follow his laws and keep his commands, he would physically and financially make them more prosperous than any other nation. He had promised, if you obey me, I'm going to make sure it rains, the harvest is great, you're going to get pregnant when you want to, you're not going to miscarry, like you will just be above all the other nations. And when they see, like, why are your crops better than our crops? And why are your families healthier than our families? You're going to tell them, because we worship the one true God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So God attached this really unique blessing to be like a magnet for all the nations, but he has not repeated that same blessing for Christians in the modern age. So, do faithful Christians sometimes get sick? Do faithful Christian women sometimes miscarry? Do faithful Christians sometimes not have success in school or in business? Yes. God has not promised outward physical prosperity to his New Testament people. So do I think that that passage, which was connected to Old Testament Israel, is connected to the current COVID pandemic? My answer is no. Second question, is the pandemic meant to bring the nations back to God? My answer is for sure. C.S. Lewis, who was a famous Christian from about 50 or 75 years ago, he once said that pain is a megaphone to bring people back to God. You know, sometimes when life is good, I'm getting good grades, I met the girl, oh my gosh, I got into college and a scholarship, and things are going well, my business is going up, I'm working like crazy, I'm making this money. Sometimes when life is good, it's really easy to forget about spiritual things. So God often allows, even sends, difficult times in life so we learn to think about the things that matter, the things that last forever. Am I prepared to rejoice if I'm broke and my sports league is closed and school isn't what I want it to be? Would I seek God with my whole heart if, he lets me get sick? If this year is the year that I die, am I ready for that? So does God use all pain and suffering, and specifically this pain and suffering, to bring people back to God? My answer is absolutely. Absolutely. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, the Apostle Paul talks about pain and suffering as a way that keeps people reliant on God, his grace, and his power.
Did you enjoy this video? If so, we would love to share even more Jesus with you, even if you have a busy, on-the-go kind of life. Just click here, and you can find the audio version for this podcast, along with all the other podcasts that Time of Grace offers.